Hey folks. Right. Working more on this today. Did a decent bit of work last week. We got clay golem, flesh golem, iron, snow, and stone golem. They're all sort of marked out as things that are, in a first draft kind of stage, So yeah, welcome in. I've been working this past week on revamping a lot of the constructs from in 5e, the golems especially, because they're very boring. Thank you very much for the follow. So today we're going to sort of move away from like pre-existing stuff for the most part, and I'm going to start looking into designing. Oh, my fan is like massively in the way. I'm moving it. There, it's out of the way now. I couldn't see the part of the screen I needed to see. We're going to look at like designing new golems to sort of slot into the book. They're all going to be fairly simple, no more complex than some of the ones we've got here. We revamped the flesh golem. Its berserk ability is largely gone. It's been replaced with a rage ability that has a little bit of that sort of berserk thing built in. The iron golem has a new stomp action to improve its damage. The snow golem from Icewind Dale has added this new chilling frost ability, and its ranged attack isn't total garbage. And the stone golem, its slow action is lasts a round and can be used as a part of multi-attack, and it also has this like reaction ability to reduce damage. I think it's entirely depending on context. Because, like, target the environment to kill creatures much stronger than them could mean a million things. There's no answer I can give there that isn't going to be very misleading. If you're talking about, letting players set traps for monsters, dig pits and shit, then they are allowed to do that. That's part of the rules. If you want them to, basically, if you want them to set traps, like, creatures with thieves' tools proficiency can set traps. That's just like rules as written. It's in Xanathars. They can make traps. If you want them to be able to use spells like move earth or mold stone and things like that to make ambush points and things like that, then yes. It depends on. It depends on what the ceiling is made of. It's very difficult. The game does not have a framework to define how much hit points a ceiling has. If you're in a cave and you cast fireball is very important because it is very important distinction because fireball is an eruption of heat. Fireball is not an explosion. Fireball is just, it is very hot suddenly in an area. Fireball isn't like a chemical explosion. It is like a sudden flash fire. A fireball wouldn't bring down a ceiling because it's not an explosion. Falling ceilings and things like that are in improvised damage. Improvising damage, which is in the DMG. Hit by rubble in a collapsing tunnel is 4d10 bludgeoning damage, which is actually less than fireball. So, yeah, they should just cast fireball on the monster. Improvising damage is very, very good for when players want to do weird shit. Or when you want to put lava in your game somewhere. Because being submerged in lava does 18d10 damage. And you can use those as bases for making things do amounts of damage. But yeah, letting players do environmental stuff is definitely a very difficult grey area because you are suddenly at the mercy of players knowing or pretending or thinking that they know more about physics than you do. And that is a very slippery slope to a very unfun play experience for the DM and the player trying to do it when they inevitably are told, no, that's stupid. I would certainly something like I cast Fireball on the cave ceiling, I would generally say no to, because of a lot of different reasons, namely Fireball is heat, not if Fireball is heat, there's no kinetic force in Fireball, therefore it wouldn't even damage a ceiling at all. If they decide to use Shatter instead, then I would maybe consider it Shatter very explicitly as yeah, this damages objects, and I would maybe let them break away loose. I mean, then it would just be melted or wouldn't be affected. Again, you get all of these if but, no but scenarios where players will, if you give them the edge of letting them do something outside of the rules, they will always keep fishing for more. Because the kinds of players who are fishing for that thing in the first place are the kinds of players who, most of the time, will keep fishing for more. Oh, my door is just blown open. Give me just a sec. I'm just gonna go shut it. Door is closed. Right. But yeah, I would say if they want to do something within the boundaries of the rules, then yeah, they should be allowed to do it. That's how the game works. But if they're trying to fish for ruling edge cases and things like that, then generally speaking, I would just give a hard no, because they will always fish for more. I say always, will generally fish for more, and then your table becomes the most asinine argument between two people who don't know enough about physics but think they do, to make an explicit ruling on something. And it bleeds into all other aspects of play. People start fishing for the maximum amount of realism possible to the detriment of everyone. But yeah, Pitfall Traps, cool. They're or setting explosive charges and pressure plates and doing things like, oh, I want to most of the way chop down this tree with my woodcarver's tools proficiency or whatever, and then during combat I want to axe the tree and drop the tree on their head, stuff that is traps, basically, rather than just he who I cast Fireball on the ceiling and kill everybody, or whatever. Yeah, it's my fairly long-winded take on, I guess that kind of bleeds into the rule of cool argument, which I'm generally not in favor of either, because the exact same reason people will always fish for more. Oh, there is a bot. The bot has been removed. I mean, they wouldn't be in that situation in the first place, right? Like a 20th level wizard is never going to be in a situation where they're A, fighting goblins, and B, are about to die. Because you're a 20th level wizard. If you know what you're doing playing a wizard, you you've been completely invincible for 5 levels now. Because Clone exists, Simulacrum exists, Contingency exists, even just Contingency Dimension Door, like, there's so many, like, Wizard is like, once you reach tier 4 as a wizard, if you're not invincible, then you're doing something wrong. Right, which golem to look at first? Oh, there are plenty of ways around that as well. Again, like, a particularly high-level wizard who knows what they're doing can overcome basically any challenge by themselves. You know, it's unless a DM really like goes out of the way to design encounters to really challenge the caster, they will a tier 4 wizard especially will steamroll every encounter effortlessly. I say steamroll, but you know, a smart wizard player will be able to dominate an encounter. I mean, counterspell is technically an option, but wizards do have workarounds for that too, including and most easily their own counterspells. Not to mention the fact that, like, basically the best way to counteract a wizard is to make sure the player has no fun by literally not letting them do anything for an entire session. So you have to find that balance between actually challenging them with something without just making it so that they don't get to play the game. They just stand there doing nothing. It is a very difficult balance to strike, and it requires a degree of fairly intelligent encounter design to actually do it well. What am I got? I have chain, bone, crystal, adamantine, platinum, gold, silver, bronze, brain, sand, mirror, puzzle, and yeah, that's that. I'll start with a bone golem, because that sounds kind of interesting. Now, bone golems are from a past edition, I believe. Let's grab this stat block, because a lot of the things we'll be able to pass across. So a bone golem. I'm going to make it a medium construct. I believe generic objects. Bone is listed as having a generic DC. Yes, it does. It's 15. So I feel like we need to go sort of midway, like sort of CR-wise. I'm thinking like CR7 or something. Like, this is one of the smaller, sort of simpler golems, I feel. I don't know what it does. I'm going to work that out. They'll be immune to poison and psychic for fairly obvious reasons. Let's go CR7 now, just for simplicity. But let me look at the other golems and make sure there aren't any, like, obvious vanilla sources. Yeah, there's a CR5 and a CR9, so yeah, let's fill in the gap. Make a CR7 golem. I believe I have some art on hand for the bone golem somewhere. Where is it? I do definitely have some. It's in here. I'm like looking through and I can't see. Oh, it's there. Okay, right. Okay. So this is the art I have. This is the bone golem here, and obviously this is the chain golem. So yeah, this thing looks medium to me. It's definitely on the taller side, but it looks very sharp. I'm feeling we should have sort of some like bleeding over time kind of effects that we should get in here. Hemorrhaging hazards. Or we'll just call it hazardous body. Remoras. Remorazes have the similar wording to what I want. It touches the golem or hits it with a melee attack while within 5 feet of it. Takes suffers a nasty cut. Suffers a bleeding wound. Now let's look at the Horned Devil. So I love the Horned Devil's tail damage over time effect because I think it's really cool. Oh. Bleeding wound. Losing. Let's just do 1d6. Wounded target with awesome, right? That is what I want. This is its unique selling point, is having this kind of scary, damaging ability. Stat-wise, we need to sort this thing out. I'm gonna give this thing 12, probably 14 strength and 16 dexterity. It seems like it'd be kind of fast. And Constitution. So if you have an adamantine warhammer, that are magical or adamantine. That's a common vulnerability. No, I'm not going to put that. Vulnerabilities are just kind of annoying. Speed. This thing is going to be, I think, probably kind of fast. I'm thinking like 35. And maybe we give it, yeah, let's give it a climb speed as well. Actually, no, let's just keep it at 30. Keep it at 30. Oh, I might have to move my fan in a minute. It's actually really warm. I've had my fan on like all day, and I've been like mostly fine, but I'm like really fucking warm now. Makes 2 claw attacks. Bone splinter attacks. Oh, this attack bonus is wrong. This should be +6. Yeah, I'm not... I feel like this needs something more. Like this is a good selling point, I think, for this monster. But I feel like it needs something, a little extra pizzazz. I don't feel too strongly about that. Like, I could leave it as is, and I would be okay with that. I feel like it just needs something else. I don't know. I'll, unless I come up with something like tonight, I'll just leave it as is. I won't force myself to come up with something today. And if I don't come up with anything, then I'm not going to force anything. So the plan for Golem is to redesign the golems from the book, some of the other constructs from the books as well, make some new ones, bringing in some ones from old editions as well, and then it's basically redesign all the boring constructs, mostly the golems because they're all just kind of naff, and then make some new ones as well. I did the same thing with Beast, which I put out nearly 2 months ago now. Remade all the old beasts to make them a little more realistic, a little less boring, and made a bunch of new beasts as well. This book's a little more in depth, just because Construct is a bit more complex a creature type than, Beast. Like, they're all pretty simple, but the constructs have a bit more going on, so it's a bit more involved. But even so, I think I think that's largely the plan. Right, let me double check this thing's like damage output and making sure it's not. I just need to give it the hit points, which I haven't decided yet. Let's go 98 for now and just see what that comes out as. I don't know if that's necessarily the right amount or not, but it definitely isn't. No, it needs to be way more than that. let's go 13d8. I think I have this over here. 84. The animated items I think are fine. I think the I'm not actually going to touch the animated items. I think the point of them being very, very simple is justified. I think there's no reason for an animated sword to be anything more than literally a long sword that flies and stabs you, you know? My problem comes with things like the Stone Golem, which is probably one of the most reused and reskinned monsters in the entire game, probably alongside the Flesh Golem, because there's, like, every adventure has, like, it's a Stone Golem, but X, or use the Stone Golem stat block, but change nothing. And they're, like, Stone Golems, they just suck. Like, they're just bad. Like, all Golems are, like, they made them immune to non-magical damage, so they're garbage in combat. Because their damage is way down to compensate for the fact that they're immune to non-magical damage. But that just means that you can't use them against parties that don't have magical weapons, or you shouldn't use them against parties that don't have magical weapons, because otherwise the marshals are just going to sit there doing nothing. And if you do use them with parties that have magical weapons, they don't have enough hit points, and they don't do any damage, so they're just bad. So my point, one of the main things I've done is just removed their damage and vulnerability and just made them resistant, because that makes an order of magnitude just more sense. Like, I don't see why a Flesh Golem is immune to non-magical damage, other than for balance reasons. And even then, it doesn't make it balanced, it makes it unbalanced, the fact that it is, and they could have just given it more hit points. Right, so we're looking at a... Oh no, they do have magic resistance. I mean, again, yeah, I think I went over this last time, where magic resistance is very overvalued CR-wise, for the most part. And I understand why, because putting magic resistance on a creature that already has good saves is crazy powerful, because it means they'll just succeed every saving throw pretty much without fail. Whereas something like this thing, which has very mediocre stats and very mediocre saves, it having advantage on all of its magical saving throws isn't really going to change much. Like, it's only like, you know, it has 3 okay saves, +2, +3, +2, and all of its other ones are negatives. It's, even with advantage, it's probably never going to succeed on a save against Tasha's Mind Whip, like, ever. I mean, it can. It's not incapable, but it's unlikely to be it's certainly not consistently anyway. Either way, so that is 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 3, or 5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 3 divided by 2. It's about 22 damage. Damage can actually come up a little bit. Let's do that. I guess hang on. 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 16 divided by 2 is 19, and I'll put the hazardous body because I always forget that's a thing. So we're looking at an offensive CR of only 4, which is obviously not very good. But if we increase the hazardous body, then it becomes super brutal, like, no doubt, because it becomes 16 plus, like 16 plus 14. That's like 30. Oh well. Plus 10 plus 14 divided by 2. It'd be 27 damage, and then... Oh no, that actually just kind of solves it, huh? Okay. yeah, I guess that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, it applies its hazardous body to you, causes you to bleed out. Doesn't do a huge amount of damage otherwise, but it has this effect that's actually quite dangerous. You need to spend spell slots or waste your turn healing someone. Like that's either healing, spend a spell slot and healing word them, and spend a spell slot on that to take your turn, or you spend your whole turn curing the bleed, which they can just reapply very easily anyway. So you get a lot of guaranteed damage out of hazardous body in this way, like this wound. This actually creates like kind of a scary like play experience for players, because they're fighting something that no matter what is going to do damage to them. Most of the golems have one very specific special ability that is like bad or not very useful. Clay golems, I completely redesigned clay golems have the berserk ability, and they reduce your hit point maximum with their slam attack. The berserk is actively like a downside, and the hit point maximum reduction doesn't make any sense and is mostly not all that useful. I say that, it's not completely useless. The flesh golem just has the berserk ability, which is bad. The iron golem has this poison breath ability, which is okay, but it has a very small range, it doesn't do that much damage. And the snow golem was just terrible. The stone golem has its slam, and it also has a slow action. Oh, that's another thing. The clay golem had a haste ability that was completely pointless because it was entirely action neutral. It just gave it +2 AC and advantage on dexterity checks, which it was already bad at anyway. And didn't actually give it any benefits, because it would give it one extra action, but it cost an action, or it gave it one extra attack, but it cost a turn to use. So it would lose 2 attacks and then gain 2 attacks. So it's like it was entirely like action neutral, and was just bad. I'm pretty satisfied with the bone golem. I think this thing is in a good space. I think. Obviously this is all first draft stuff. I could go back through, and I imagine I'll probably get Joe on to edit this again, because he did a very good job on Beast, and it'll be a little more involved for him this time, because I know he was kind of bored of editing the last one. I don't think there's a lightning golem in base, but I am planning on doing like a proper like Frankenstein like lightning flesh golem, which seems kind of fun. Right. Oh, I did fill up my water bottle. Good. I guess we'll look at the chain golem next, given that it's in the same art piece. Might as well. So one thing I need to be careful of is not making the chain golem exactly the same as a chain devil. That's a very important thing I need to not do. So large golem, unaligned. It's made of iron. Well, I guess let me look at chains. What is the DC of a chain? Doesn't specify an AC. So let me look at generic object. What is the AC of iron? 19. Big AC. So I feel like this thing should be able to reach out and grab lots of things simultaneously. He says, not sure if that's exactly what chain devils do, because it very well could be. It animates chains. And it hits things with chains. Big surprise. So this thing is pretty big. I'm thinking it's big and slow, but it has a big scary reach. Like it can grab you from like 30 feet away and sort of pull you in. So let's try that. I'm thinking higher CR, like what is the highest CR of Golem? 16 for the iron. So we have this sort of gap between stone and iron. So I'm thinking like we go CR 13 maybe. That seems like a good sort of bracket. It's very warm. I want to put my fan on in a minute, but it picked up on the mic, so I will probably. I imagine. Am I going to be able to wait until my break in like half an hour? Probably not. I'll move it in a minute. I'll make a dent in this before I like. Could maybe I'll take a break and like sort of cool down. I don't know. I'll sort something out. CR 13 is 10,000 experience. Plus 5. I need to pull this in. Oh, other one too. Poison psychic. I'm not going to give it the same. Should it have damage absorption of any kind? Because I'm thinking not. Because a lot of them do have damage absorption. Like the clay golem has acid, the flesh golem has lightning, the iron golem has fire, and the snow golem has cold. The stone golem, however, does not have any damage absorption, so I guess we'll just stick with that. So I don't want to just crimp on the iron golem by just making it be a worse and different iron golem and just give it fire absorption as well. That seems kind of boring. Let's have it make 4 chain attacks. Or we could sort of base it on sort of like a Kraken framework, maybe, where it, it grabs lots of things and sort of flings them around. That'd be kind of interesting. Okay, strength-wise, this thing, what is the strength of an iron golem? 24. Stone golem has 22. I guess we will go with 22 as well. So 22, I'm going to say dex. We're looking at probably like 7 over here. Like, this thing is not very, very dexterous at all. Oh, wrong dash. Because in Homebrewery, dashes don't really show up very well, so I use EN dashes instead, which look very nice. There's a few things about sort of like Homebrew I'm not super big fan of. The font they use makes ones look really weird when you zoom in. It's very odd. But generally, Homebrew is very good. It does like you can't do print products with Homebrew like at all. Trust me, I've tried. But so one of these days I will have to actually bother learning Affinity Publisher. I bought it earlier on this year because it was on sale. I think it was like $30 as opposed to 60 or something. So it was a pretty well valued product, but it's just awkward and annoying, and I don't really want to have to contend with it. I've gotten very good with Homebrewery. I've basically learnt some sort of adept level CSS to make these things actually look kind of nice. There's one of these. Oh, this, yeah. I've been meaning to look into how to remove this indent here and make these lines sort of come up a bit better. But again, I'm gonna work that out. Right, chain attacks. We're gonna give this thing a reach of 20 feet. To hit is 6, 5, 11 to hit. One target hit. Bludgeoning damage, you need to give it probably maybe 2d8 plus 6. What's that? That's 15. 15 bludgeoning damage. Let's use a roper as a basis, maybe. Oh, can't spell. Escape DC 19. The grapple ends, the target is restrained. Let me look at the Kraken. Then uses real. I wonder what that noise was. It's just very windy outside. I wish some of that wind would come in here, because it's 23 degrees outside, but I would wager a bet it's probably 28 in here. That's what happens when your house was probably built, like, 100 years ago, I suppose. I couldn't tell you when my house was built, to be fair, but it probably was 100 years ago. Near enough, at least. It might actually be post World War II. I'm not sure. Either way, it's old and shit. I'm not really a fan of the multi-elemental monsters, to be fair. I'm not really a fan of. I just wish there were more elementals in general, but I'm not really that fussed about the multi-elementals. I think it's more the prospect of the fact that one of the multi-elements is ooze, which is like, no, that's just a different creature type. Oozes are a whole separate thing. But I don't know. If the elemental plane of ooze wasn't a thing, I would probably like them a lot more. But I don't even remember what it's a hybrid between. Elemental plane of ooze. The para-elemental plane of ooze. Yeah, earth and water. Chain Golem. I need to give it a real ability. Let's do Fling first. Where's the Kraken's Fling? Is it DC 18? I thought it was 11. No, it's 17. Oh, yeah, I fucked that up. Yeah, it should be 17. Fling. Real. And the golem can't target it with... Can't target it with it. Until the grapple ends, the target is restrained. It takes 2d8 plus 6 bludgeoning damage at the start of each of its turns, and the golem can't target it with another chain attack. Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. It then uses real. Slam attack. Yeah, let's give it a slam. I imagine I will make some form of fast golem. I'm not sure in what capacity that will be, but there will inevitably be one, I should think. Ugh. 40-10 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. Or it's 40-10, that's 22-28 bludgeoning damage. And the target is knocked prone. I feel good about this. This thing is definitely not going to be... It's not a fun monster to fight. But... Like, it's not fun in the sense that it will fuck you up. But... Oh, also the passive perception of like all of these dudes is wrong. That's that's because their stats are weirdly different. I don't know why. It should be 3, 11, 1. Why do these guys have different stats? Yeah, why do these guys all have a whiz of 8? I don't know why. Let's bring this thing's wisdom up. Let's give it 12 whiz. It's meant to be sort of more intelligent than all the other golems, so let's make all of its mental stats just better. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, there's plenty of monsters that are enjoyable to fight. There are some monsters that do like hyper lockdown CC shit, and those are the ones that actually aren't fun to fight. All of the others are like, you know, entirely neutral or actively quite good fun to fight. I'm always a fan. Oh, what is the? I do like quicklings. Quicklings are like a special kind of frustrating, where they're frustrating in exactly the most like flavorful way possible. They're a CR1 creature that makes 1 million attacks, and is really fast, and has an absurdly high AC, and they're like slippery little bastards, and I love them. They are fantastic. I love quicklings. I'm trying to think of like. So I'm like when I think of like monsters that are unfun to fight, I think of like mind flayers, where they're like, why did you design this? Why did you do this? Because Mind Blast is like the most miserable ability in this entire game. Especially because mind flayers are never alone. It's very rare that you have a single mind flayer in any given space. You have multiple. So you're fighting multiple mind flayers. That's multiple mind blasts for you to die to, or more specifically, get stun locked by. Monsters that are like unfun per se to fight would be something like a Kraken, which does what this thing does, where it locks you down and makes it so you can't move. It sort of turns off your turn. There are workarounds for it. There are lots and lots of workarounds for it, but it is, it's a thing that is frustrating. And then there are other monsters that are just like super dynamic and like very good fun to fight, like bards and things like that. Like the bard monster has its taunt ability, which I really like. Like D&D 5e is in like this really weird position where you get like all of the very loud, annoying people who really hate 5th edition say that the monsters are boring, but also really overcomplicated. And it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it. Either they're boring, or they're too complicated. They can't be both. Because a boring thing is generally very simple, and it's boring because it's very simple. It's this constant battle between like streamlining the game and making it really simple, and also, making things actually interesting, which certainly in the monster manual I feel they largely have not succeeded at. Future monster books have done a very good job of improving it. But a lot of the creatures in the monster manual are 2 claws and a bite, and is that, damning? No, not even slightly. Yes, yeah, that is definitely true, but that is a mistake that DMs make, thinking that they need to make character sheets for their monsters, when in reality all that does is inflates their workload, makes the encounter harder to run, and makes a monster that will die immediately, because PCs have less health than monsters, for a reason. PCs have less health and do more damage, whereas monsters have do much less damage and do way more health. Have way more health. I think the best example is probably the rivals from Call of the Netherdeep, where they're meant to be player characters, but they aren't. They have like twice the amount of hit points that the characters do. I mean, even then, I would just still boil them down to an NPC stat block. Like, just don't make your life pointlessly hard. But, like, obviously make a unique one for them if they had special abilities, but just simplify that shit, you know? Like, the rivals from Call of the Netherdeep have a shit ton of hit points, but don't do a huge amount of damage. With the exception of Io, who hits like a train for some reason. I'm not sure why she does. The tier 1 rival stat blocks are, like, ridiculous. Like, absolutely silly. Alright, let me CR check this golem. So this thing is CR 13. Has AC 19. Oh, I haven't actually looked at hit points yet. Let's go 23d10 and just see what that number spits out as. Because I'm just sort of spitballing here. I don't actually know what that's going to come out as. I think it's 18 AC. Is that right? Is that too low? Is that too high? I don't know. It's so fucking warm in here. I swear to God. No, the Iron Golem has... Oh, no. The Stone Golem also has 20 con. Let's give this thing 20 con as well. There's no point in sort of arbitrarily giving it less con for no reason. Oh, that gives it 13 AC off the... Oh, but it has the resistances, but does, like... If you're finding a CR 13 creature, it's... You know... You're gonna have magic weapons by that point. And if you don't, your wizard should be helping you by... Or your cleric should be casting magic weapon, elemental weapon, holy weapon on your marshal so they can actually do damage. Like, I think that's another thing with, like, CR calculation, is that it should not take into account resistances and immunities to... Or bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing should be like flies and can deal damage at range, which only matters in CR 0 to 9. Whereas, you know, is resisted to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing or immune should work the same. Because anything over that, it's like, that doesn't make a difference. Like, I'll bring this down like a little bit just to appease the CR calculator, but I think turning on the resistances thing is just misleading. Yeah, let's go 20. Let's go 20. 20d10 plus 100 for 210 hit points. Oh, I am putting this in the wrong spot. Generally, yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's translated as weapon damage, I think, specifically, but they maintain the distinction for the certain monsters that do. Like, there is literally no harm in, like, those 3 damage types existing, because, you know, it's not something players need to think about until it becomes relevant, like, ever. There's maybe, like, 12 monsters in the whole game that care about the damage types. So the fact that they're, you know, they're harmless being there, basically. Like, they could streamline it and get rid of them, but there's no point. They don't gain anything by getting rid of them. They just lose the dynamism of certain monsters being resistant or immune to certain types of, you know, bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. Even if when they do that, it's usually poorly implemented. Like, but there are ones that are like, oh, I'm resistant to slashing damage, but I'm not to piercing and bludgeoning or whatever. Chain Golem, that was what I was going to do. Oh, I didn't even give this thing a fucking con. I didn't even do this thing's con at all. Right, Chain Golem has lots of health. How much damage does it do? I mean, yeah, they could be pretty easily hand-waved. I mean, it would just be like brass knuckles are simple weapons that, you know, do 1d4 bludgeoning damage. Like, that's probably the simplest way of putting that across. Because augmenting unarmed strikes comes with a lot of rules complications. Specifically because an unarmed strike is not a weapon attack, it's an unarmed strike. A melee attack and a melee weapon attack are two separate things. Unarmed strike is a melee attack. Melee weapon attack is a whole other thing. 15 times 4, 60 plus 28. That's about 83 damage per round, with an attack bonus of 11. This actually kind of works out. It just, you know, tosses you around. I feel like this fling ability is like the most effective way to use the Chain Golem is to have it in a wide open room, or not a wide open room, but like an open space, or a you know, a room that players can sort of tuck themselves away in the corner of when they really want to, with various pits of dangerous substances in them, so that this thing can pick people up and fling them into pools of boiling water, or throw them into each other and sort of grab people and reel them across pits and things like that. That's like the scary way to use this monster and like make it be like an actually really dynamic encounter. Because that's like one thing where like people don't really use terrain very well at all, because most people don't understand cover rules. Most people don't understand like how like elevation changes things in a combat. There's an air of like lack of rules understanding that your average DM probably had group of like players has, and then on top of that, just like a lack of general tactical understanding that a lot of DMs have. It's sort of like what do you mean? Count? As in like werewolves, like lycanthropes and things, right? I assume you mean were as in WERE, wolf. It depends in what capacity, like what creature type they are, or like what about them? Because I can tell you they're badly designed, but beyond that, I don't know. Like what about them? Like what specific? Like, what do I Oh, well, they're monstrosities. That makes total sense. Like they could be humanoids, and that's fine as well. Like, I wouldn't argue if WotC decided to just be like, yeah, they're humanoids now. Oh wait, no, they are humanoids. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you could change it to monstrosity, but they're also like, they're cursed people. So like, yeah, no, humanoid makes total sense. That makes in fact, yeah. They are still human, but they have, like, they're lycanthrope cursed. So they're still humans. So yeah, no, that, or humanoids, should I say. But yeah, that makes total sense. The main thing with lycanthropes, and the reason they're really horribly designed, is because they have the same problem with the golems, where they're immune to non-magical damage, which means they have no hit points and do no damage. So they're, you know, like a werewolf has an offensive CR of like a CR1 creature, because it's just like it's just bad. I mean, I wear. I assume you mean were hyena, but like a were hyena is just like would just be a knoll, but with extra steps, right? That's like knolls are already like reverse. They're like the wolf were of a hyena. Like lore wise, it's very weird lore, but yeah, I think the chain golem is in like a pretty decent spot. What is next on my list? I kind of want to do something a little bit more sort of out there. I mean, that's like what a werewolf is, right? The like, I think they would be stupid to say, oh, here's a werewolf, and then show you something that blatantly isn't a werewolf. Like, making a folklore creature and then just changing everything about it for the sake of it sounds like a really stupid design decision. The werewolves are just, and the lycanthropes are just like badly balanced. Their actual like physical designs are, you know, they're fine. Some of them look kind of stupid, like the wereboars and such, but like they're largely fine. What next? I have Crystal Golem on my list. Let's take a look at Crystal Golem. I feel like there is a basis for a Crystal Golem in 5e, but it's not. It is just a reskinned Stone Golem. It is. So we're going to not do that, because that's boring and stupid. We'll probably make it the same CR as the Stone Golem, to sort of mirror that kind of, you know, they're opposites of each other. Crystal Golem also makes designing them easier, but right, let's get rid of this. Light intensity. Damage immunities, give it immunity to radiant damage. Let's give it radiant absorption. Radiant absorption. Now they have this ability. They're from Dungeons of the Mad Mage, I think. Yeah. So I kind of like this ability. Like it's a classic kind of like Umber Hulk style effect, which is always cool. Monsters that change how players have to play the game, like in some way, are always good, because it requires players to actually like think other than I walk up to the guy and make a weapon attack. Like, I mean, yeah, like the way they're sort of like marked down is you know, their conceptual design is fine, but if the art is just kind of whatever, then you know that just kind of sucks. The were-rats are like fine. Where even is the werebat? I didn't actually know there was a werebat. Is there art? Let's find out. Oh, this thing. Yes, I have actually. Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, it's like a goblin werebat and whatever. They are humanoids. I say we looked before, and they are humanoids. And that is what they do already. They are humanoids that turn into hybrid or beast form. That is the point. Plus 2d6. Yeah, 2d6 feels good. Radiant damage. I want this thing's weakness to be darkness. Like if it stood in bright light, bad things. I'm gonna increase this area to 30 feet. I'm gonna change this ability's name to Blinding Refraction. I mean, there are plenty of NPCs from adventures where they show you what they look like, because otherwise, you know, like from Van Richten's, they show you Harkon Lucas, who is one of the Dark Lords. They show you him. I remember Ravenloft fans getting really pissy about like, oh, why does he look so happy? And it's like, why is he so colourful? It's like, that's the point. He's supposed to look friendly. The whole point is he's supposed to trick you and then turn into a Lugaro, like the most powerful kind of werewolf, and kill you. Like, that's the point of his character. You're supposed to trust him. That's why they did that artistic direction. Again, the point of the werewolves is that they, like, the werewolf with the stat block, the point is that they have gained control over it. Like, they've, you know, obviously you can flavor it however you want. But, yeah, I think, like, and if you want a flavor in your home game that werewolves can only turn when they're agitated or only during the full moon or whatever, then you can do that. There's literally nothing stopping you. And it requires no mechanical change either, so it's not like it's making work for the DM. But yeah, like I think the problem with the werewolves is just that they're like badly balanced. Like their actual like mechanics are completely fine. I mean, when the moon is full in the sky, that's I don't know what there is to like. The moon has a 30-day lunar cycle, or what the real world moon does anyway. Whatever your campaign setting has can differ. For 1, 2, maybe 3 nights, it is full. It's the way the Earth rotates, and I mean, yeah, it's inconsistent from setting to setting, because certain settings have different moons. Like I don't know what the issue is there. Like, You ask the DM when is the next full moon, and they'll either have an answer for you or they won't. Depending on how close track of time they keep and whether they have a lunar calendar set up somewhere, which they may well not. I mean, yeah, that's the point of a lycanthrope. That's like historically the point. If a werewolf bites you, you don't instantly turn into a werewolf. You're like, oh fuck, I've potentially been cursed with lycanthropy. It's like when someone gets bitten in a zombie movie, like it's the same thing. Like they don't instantaneously die and turn into a zombie. It's the slow burn of the fight is over and they look down and they've got a bite mark on their arm. They're like, oh fuck. And they, obviously in a zombie show or movie, they, do the douchebag thing and hide it, or they, put a gun in their mouth. Like it's one or the other. But for a werewolf thing, you're on a strict timer. It has nothing to do with combat. It's to provide, for the zombie, again, it depends on the media, but 5e lycanthropes spread by bite and bite alone. That's just how they work, which, fair enough. It's a saliva-based disease or curse, or spread by saliva, sure, whatever. If you want to come up with a reason for it. But yeah, it's not supposed to be combat relevant. It's supposed to make your players go, oh shit, which is exactly what it does. Speaking from abundant experience of using lycanthropes ever. Every fight with a lycanthrope becomes nail biting because unless you know the DC off the top of your head, you don't know whether you've been turned or not. The Golem releases a burst of light. Which was a 30-foot. This should be a con save. Each creature caught in the area it is averting its eyes. Blighted until the end of next turn. On a success, a creature takes half as much damage and is not blinded. I guess it's a need to blind, because it already has a blinding effect. Summon animal, do you mean summon beast or conjure animals? Those are two very different spells. Like, if it's conjure animals, I would agree with you. If it's summon beast, then no. Yes, conjure animals is... all of the conjure spells are horribly balanced. And they're all interesting, like, conceptually, but in practice they're just miserable to play into. All of the ones that are fine, like Conjure Elemental and Conjure Minor Elemental, which, well, more so Conjure Elementals, which summons one thing, is a minute cast time for no reason. Whereas Conjure Animals is super broken and absolutely fucking miserable. And is voting its highest as much as saving throw. On its saving throw. I mean, it's not even one turn later, it's instantaneous. It is a power gamer's spell of choice on any class that gets it. I can't remember if anything other than Druid gets it, mind you. Probably Rangers get it as well. And they use it in, like, the most annoying way possible, which is to summon as many meat shields as they can. I think the optimal thing they do is summon, like, 8 cows or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like summon 8 cows or whatever you can find with the most amount of hit points just to soak up damage. I mean, yeah, it's pretty effective as a damage dealing spell as well, don't you? Like, it's better than most spells for damage dealing, but yeah, there's all kinds of dumb bullshit you can do with Conjure Animals. I've very explicitly just removed all of the Conjure spells from my home game. Like, I just don't allow them, because, like, the optimal way to use them is the annoying way, and if you use them in a way that isn't optimal, they're just bad. Because anything you can summon, you know, if you summon like 2 lions with Conjure Animals, then you may as well just summon them straight in a pit of lava, because they're just not useful. Whereas something like Summon Beast summons a particularly tanky creature that does quite a bit of damage and scales really well. All the summon spells scale really well. Some of them don't do magic damage, which sucks, but, you know, what can you do? So, Crystal Golem. Probably never, I should imagine. Bloodhunter is an official. I know for a fact that Mercer has steered pretty far away from writing stuff because people do nothing but shit down his throat for it. Which is not really surprising because Matt Mercer is not a games designer. You know, what he makes is, you know, for someone who is not a games designer, what he makes is okay, but the Bloodhunter is not a super well-balanced class. It's not a super well-designed class either. There's a lot of massive problems with Bloodhunter. Like, there's a lot of things about it that are big issues. Like, I would be very surprised if Mercer ever makes anything for it again, unless WotC come out and say very explicitly they want him to make things for it. And even then, I don't think they will. I'm surprised they didn't give it another tune-up and stick it in Wildmount, but at the same time, I'm not. I have a heavily altered version of Bloodhunter in my home game, and by heavily altered, I mean I changed a lot of things and basically stripped out all of the base subclasses, or massively changed them because they're all terrible. Ghost Slayer is a design disaster, and it's both bad and also makes the whole class defunct. Profane Soul is boring and bad. Mutant is like actively a detriment to your character. Lycan is the only good one, and it's the one that everybody picks because of it. I mean, I'm not saying that WotC are great at designing races, they never have been, but like, you know, it's very much apples and pears comparing Bloodhunter to like modern WotC design. They're very different things, very different beasts. The likelihood of us seeing Bloodhunter again is, or any more Bloodhunter is very, very low. Mercer went through a phase of releasing a lot of his stuff. Nowadays, they want to release it under their brand. They want to release it under the CR brand, put it in setting books, and I can respect that. I can respect that, I understand that. A lot of the character options in the new Tal'Dorei book are certainly the ones they carried over are not from the original one and not super great. Some of the new ones are alright. Bloodhunter is still kind of a mess. I still stand very firmly by the fact that the best thing Matt Mercer has ever made is College of the Maestro. And it's the only one of his things, I said the only one, it's one of the only one of his things that isn't on D&D Beyond, and it is by far the best thing he's ever made. It's very, very good. I've had a player use it before. It was great fun. It's Battlemaster for bards. It's wonderful. Absolutely love College of the Maestro. Strongly recommend people give it a look. But, yeah. I think, like, all of the stupid races in 5e are... I mean, anything can feasibly be remade, but I think the likelihood of it happening is very low. There was one final update in 2020 that I don't think is going to change again. Unless Travis, on Critical Role, because he's currently playing one, finds something super broken about Bloodhunter that Matt needs to fix, or he voices a very specific, distaste for something about the class that he doesn't like. Bearing in mind they haven't had that much combat in that campaign either. Like, compared to the previous two Critical Role campaigns, at least, there's not been that much combat. Like, Matt, I don't think is ever going to change Bloodhunter in any significant way again. Because the amount of heat he gets for it all the time is just absurd. Like, regardless of whether the class is the best thing in the world or not, the amount of shit he gets for it is entirely uncalled for. Mostly by people who are frustrated that it's on D&D Beyond and their shithead players think that they can just use it. Like, a lot of people are not fans of Mercer Brew because it isn't all that fantastic, and people just assume that it's default when it is not. Even the stuff in Wildmount is DM opt-in because it's a setting book. Hell, everything is technically opt-in. Someone can say, I don't want people using anything outside the PHB, and whilst I wouldn't play in that game, they're well within their right to say PHB only. No, stopping them. There's no moral reason why they shouldn't. Or can't, should I say. I imagine there'll probably be one that goes in here, I should think. But, speaking of, I need to put in, Alright, I'm going to take a quick break here. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. Going to carry on, make some more golems. I'm not sure what I'm going to move on to next. Because the crystal was a very simple one. I think I'll probably need to sort of check these numbers a little bit, because this thing does actually do quite a lot of damage, but I will probably do that during the break. Either way, I am going to, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to go grab food. I'll be back in about 15, maybe 20 minutes. Probably less, probably about 15, so 10 to 15. When I get back, I will probably go for about another hour, give or take. But yeah, I will be back in a bit. So yeah. Okay, right. I'm back. I'll probably stick around for another sort of half an hour, give or take. I want to get another couple of these done. I'm not sure which ones to do next, though. I've done 3 today, which I'm quite happy with. The Bone Golem, the Chain Golem, and the Crystal Golem. I want to do more, and I would normally want to finish later today because I'm going away on Wednesday and I won't be back until later. Oh yeah. So welcome in, Colt. Yeah, I've gotten 3 golems done, 3 new ones. There's the Crystal Golem, there's the Chain Golem, and the Bone Golem. Chain Golem grabs you, Bone Golem makes you bleed, and Crystal Golem cares about being in bright light. Yeah, it's pretty good. Oh. But yeah, so I am going away on Wednesday, and I will not be back until late on Monday, so there will be no streams at all until the Uranium stream next Wednesday, and then this stream will be the Friday afterwards. Once I reach a certain point, I will start doing more streams of this as well, just because I don't want this to take weeks and weeks and weeks. I kind of want to put this book out sometime around in August. Not 100% on that, but somewhere around then. Right. Which golem to do next? Adamantine, platinum, gold, silver, bronze, brain, sand, mirror, or puzzle. I'll start with the bronze golem. It's gotten cooler outside, but it is 100% much hotter in here than it was. Feels bad. Yeah, I say I definitely mentioned it. On Monday. Or no, today is Monday. On Friday. Right, a bronze golem. Now, the main thing is making this thing not exactly like the iron golem. But I think I know of a way to do that. I definitely want this thing to have fire breath. I say we go maybe slightly lower in the CR department, like 15. So we're looking at 19 AC. Fire breath. Superheated aura. Oh, I've put that in the wrong spot. DC 18? Yes. me go look at oh. Fire Elemental. Water susceptibility. I'm not sure if I spelled susceptibility. Looks right. I did. That's potentially something I may well try. If the golem comes into contact... How much is 5 gallons? Let me see if I can get a visualization of 10 gallons of water. I'm trying to think with... I'm just going to do with 100 or more. In contact with water. Is instantly evaporated. Or up to 50. $50 gallons of water. Let me see if create or destroy. How much does create or destroy water? Creates 10 gallons of water. Yeah. It is just kind of like that sometimes, you know. I'm trying to find like a visual of like 10 gallons of... Like, a 50-gallon storage tank is like a water butt. Like, most water butts hold about 50 gallons worth of water. This thing is a large creature. It's a 5-gallon bottle. Up to 10 gallons. If any water remains, the golem Do I give it heated body or superheated aura? Is it regenerate or regeneration? Can never remember. Liches have it, I think. No, they very specifically don't. Vampires do, though. It is regeneration. What do you mean? Gold what? Regains. Yeah. What do you mean, what type of element is gold? Like, scientifically? It's a metal of some kind, but otherwise I don't know what you're talking about. Slam. What hit are we looking at here? It's about the same, it's plus 12, 5 feet. None of them, I would assume. I mean, if something is made of gold and it hits you, you just take bludgeoning damage, right? Like, makes 2 slam attacks. Flame bolt, ranged weapon attack. Or hurl flame? Hurl flame, that's cool. Hurl flame, range 30, 120, or pretty 60. 6320, is it 8320, is it? Let me just look at like the weapon like table or something. $83.20. Is there like a 60 and then a different number? No. Yeah, potentially. Let's go 6240. That seems the most sensible. Oh fuck it, let's just go 3120. Or just whatever, we'll keep it as is. Right, okay, yeah. I'm probably not going to necessarily use that here, I shouldn't think. I don't know specifically what... I had a very specific vision for the bronze golem. I just have the gold and platinum golems and silver and such down as, you know, for completion's sake. If I decide to do something with them that is akin to the dragon things, then I will, but I have no, like, specific allegiance to doing one or the other. I haven't thought that much, so they're just names at the moment. I mean, yeah, that's the, if you want to make a bronze dragon that breathes fire, then there's literally nothing stopping you. Oh, I forgot to change. The golem regains 10 hit points at the start of each turn, as long as it has at least 1 hit point. Hit points. I'll reduce. Hang on, let me go reduce the chain golem's hit points a little bit. Yeah, Cole, I like your idea of heat metaling things. I'm gonna change superheated aura to do that instead. That's cool. I need to look at rust monsters. No, black puddings. That's they do what I want. Or well, they have the wording of a kind of effect that I want. or drop the weapon. Non-magical ammunition made of metal that hits the golem is destroyed after dealing damage. That is how heat metal works, right? Yeah. A 1 cubic foot of sediment. I'm out of space. Fuck. I say I'm out of space. I can just make it a wider one. It's not a big deal. Yeah, that's fine. 1 cubic. Object. Additionally, whenever the golem does fire damage from a metal object or surface object becomes superheated, any creature that touches it for the first time on a turn. This is complex. Additionally, whenever the golem deals fire damage to a creature wearing... Alright. To a metal. Right, this is complicated. Additionally, this is a new track. I've not heard this one before, I don't think. No, it's not new. It's from the more recent album. Maybe I just haven't heard it yet. This is a very complicated effect. Mostly because I've had to sort of boil all of this that would normally be over here into here. But I think it's cool, more so than anything else. I think that's of import, the fact that it's the effect itself is quite cool. You know, you put this thing in a metal room, casts fire breath, or uses its fire breath, and superheats the whole room. This thing is, like, legitimately really dangerous. I might actually boost this thing to, like, CR 17 and just, like, bump it up. Make it stronger than an Iron Golem, which seems appropriate. bronze better than iron or something like that. So has hazardous body, or heated body should I say, for 4. It's about 90 damage per round. Yeah, this thing is about CR 17. I'm quite happy with that. I think this is cool. Oh. Just replying to a message. I quite like this thing. I think this thing is pretty scary. It definitely has the capacity to fuck you up pretty bad. Though the water susceptibility, basically, if someone is like, wait, this thing is superheated. If I just cast control water, and you would literally just have to cast like create or destroy water at like 2nd level or whatever, and basically just put this thing out of commission for the whole fight. Oh, that's something. It's cooled for 1 minute. Cooled for 1 minute. Or until it would take any fire damage. Ooh, yeah, that. Huh. The main issue is that technically it wouldn't work on animated armors because they're not objects. Oh, I guess. To a creature wearing. I guess this would work. To a creature wearing a suit of armor made from metal or a creature made from metal, it becomes superheated. I'm quite happy with this though. I think like superheated body is a unique effect that does cool things. I think I will probably leave things there because I do have to talk to a player in one of my other games about like character stuff tonight. I would probably move on otherwise, I think, because I'm like quite enjoying this. But at the same time, it's probably good to take a break, so I'm kind of tired. We've got a good amount done today. We've done like 4 golems. Like they're all fairly unique. I will definitely be doing more. Oh, that's true, yeah. Yeah, with the Warforged thing. But yeah, I am going to head off here. Hope folks have enjoyed themselves. I will be back next Wednesday for Pokemon stuff, and then I will be back to doing this 2 weeks today. No, not 2 weeks today. I keep thinking it's Friday. It's not. Here, the 5th. But yeah, I am going to head off here. Hope folks have enjoyed themselves. I will see you then. See ya.